All right, cool. So we're going to start tonight's training. I put in a Google form into the Keep Chats about things that you guys wanted us to kind of go over tonight. Maybe random things that you have a hard time with or that you have questions on, and actually got a lot of really good feedback on that. So I think it's going to be a good overall Zoom on kind of like a bunch of wide variety of topics. It's not just like one main topic tonight, but it's going to be good. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to have Jamie speak. The first thing is you guys wanted to know how to multitask signing customers and distributors at a time, and kind of like your management on being able to consistently enroll both of them versus like only killing it with customers at one time or only killing it with distributors at one time. And I really wanted Jamie to touch on this because she consistently kills it with enrollments on both customer and distributor month after month after month. So let me unmute you and we're going to go ahead and you can give some tips. Okay, you should be good.
Hello. Okay, so I don't have a plan. I never do. I just speak from the heart. Okay, so when it comes to DT enrolling and when it comes to LC enrolling, wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can everybody else hear fine? I think that Chelsea just needs to connect to audio.
Oh, so when it comes to DT enrolling, I know from my team and from speaking to other people from the Dreamcatchers page, a lot of people get frustrated because they feel like they're not enrolling DTs as much. When, first of all, you need to know first things first. When you see people enroll a mass amount, like when you see people booming all the time, whether it be DTs or LCs, you need to know that that's because people were consistent. That's because we've been talking to them for a long time and we've stayed on track with people and our posting is consistent. It's not like, oh, hey, we just made up a random post and signed a bunch of people. So that is the key to signing both things, or both topics, DTs and LCs, is you have to stay consistent. You have to talk about everything. You have to talk about all of your little wins. And honestly, I think that's why I have been enrolling massive amounts to distributors and loyal customers because I talk about everything. I talk about every little win. Talking about bonuses you earn, whether it be sample cash, actual bonuses, weekly bonuses, any money that's coming on. I always talk about in my stories whenever I sign a loyal customer. I post about loyal customers' results. I talk about little wins on my teams. I talk about the big wins. I'm always talking about what the business is paying for. I'm always talking about my results. It's showing up every single day and it's putting it in people's heads. Like, it's literally, if you want to mass enroll, you have to be consistent. Now, the way I tend to do my posting is I tend to focus heavily on business posting at the beginning of the month because I want to get distributors out of the way so I can get people like locked and loaded onto my post and seeing it. And then I still continue to post about it, but it's not as heavily at the beginning of the month. And then I switch over, but I'm still talking about product. Like, product is always on my stories no matter what, because on your stories you can literally talk about something as many times as you want because you're just vlogging throughout your day. But I think that's what it is. I think it has to do with, heavily getting it in front of people's faces at the beginning of the month and then still continuing to talk about it. So you're attracting those people and you're getting those people to look at you, and then they're going to be watching you the whole month. So you're having that month, instead of having like 6 months on end of people watching you when you post every so often, it's posting about it and showing up their face. Because you have to think, like, we work off of algorithms on social media, right? So like, just because, so say you feel like you're being really repetitive and you're like, oh my gosh, I just posted about business yesterday. Okay, whatever, post about it again today, because just because you posted about yesterday doesn't mean Sally Joe saw it at the time that you posted about it. She could be looking at other things and missed it in her feed. And I remember posting about it in the tribe chat, but I can't remember the numbers now. It's something like, it takes someone to see something like 17 times before they grow an interest in it. So make that happen 17 times. Talk about it you have to, like, the first 2 weeks, focus on business so you can start like showing people about what the business is, pull them in, have them watch your story the whole month, and then seal them in. Same with product and stuff. You always want to make sure that's staying consistent. You want to be posting it in your stories. You want to be showing yourself, making it every day, talking about it, talking about your results, talking about other customers' results. That's a big thing. You want it, a major thing, and mass enrolling loyal customers, I'll tell you that right now. And I'm probably gonna be all over the place, but you guys know me by now. Like, I'm a spaz tack. Whatever comes to mind is going to happen. But you have to get your own personal results in order to mass enroll. I feel like that changed my business when I like got good before and after results, because yes, you still want to be showing other people's results, but having your own, people are like, oh, well, holy crap, it's working for her. So you want to be present. You want to be showing up and saying, you're loving these, you're getting amazing results. And then throw in, oh, by the way, other people are too. So you want to make sure you're in front of people all the time. You want to make sure you're staying consistent. You want to make sure you're interacting, making sure you're always replying back to every single comment on things, because that's going to boost your algorithm, adding more comments to stuff. I will tell you right now, most of my volume always comes from host to post. Host to post is literally, if you're new, you need to know, it's like saying Jesus in Sunday school. It's always the answer. Okay. Always. So host to post is, I would say, like, seriously, like 90% of my volume comes from host to posting. I will say my larger volume orders come from product posting. That's what I found out. Now, I'm not saying I'm always signing like lower volume customers off host to post, but I will say, like, the people who are like super vested and want to like make those heavier product or buy those heavier product packages definitely come from product posting. Because you're constantly talking about the pack you're using, the products you're using, because when you're using a pack, guys, one day you can talk about the pack, the next day you can talk about one thing in the pack, then you can talk about the other thing in the pack, and then you can talk about it again about the pack. And same with the business. One day you can talk about what the business is paying for. One day you can talk about doing this. One day you can talk about the grand scheme of things as a whole. But the point of it is you're showing up every single day and you're posting multiple times a day and you're showing it in your story. Be upfront, be consistent. Yeah. So that's how I balance the two out. I focus heavily on business posting in the beginning of the month, and I still continue it through the end of the month. And a lot of my loyal customer enrollments come from host to posting. So I'm still always host to posting behind the scenes.
Okay. Yes. I love that. And I agree with a lot of what you said. So one thing I can say, like, with being consistent on both product and business, like if you're talking about a product in your story throughout the day, like she's saying, throughout your day you're using one product, and then like later in the day you're using your fat burners, and then at night you're using collagen or something like that, like you're posting about products in your story, you can post about the business as a post, and then like maybe the next day you talk a little bit more about the story on the business on your story, and then when you're posting you could talk about the product. So a good way to be able to talk about both of them without feeling like you're only focused on one of them is kind of like switching off back and forth from your story and your posting. But just also make sure, for the newbies that are on here, you want to make sure that you have tons of lifestyle in between. And Jamie does an amazing job of, like, you see exactly what she's doing all day, every day. You know her personality to a T, just because she shows herself so much on her social media that people are still able to connect with her. So making sure that every day, while you are posting about products or the business on your story, or while you are posting about products or the business, like as an actual post on your Facebook or Instagram, you are getting that those personal like lifestyle postings in there, so people can really connect with you at the same time. Because a lot of times people will buy into you before they buy into the business or the product, so they want to feel like they have a connection with you. And she's so right about getting your own results. Okay, when you get your own results, people see that you are using the product, they see that you love the product, that you back the product, that you've got your own results to like prove that they work, and people are going to trust them more. They're going to want to buy them from you, versus like, say that you go to, okay, I know nothing about cars. So say that you go to like a freaking AutoZone and you're like, dude, okay, this is what's wrong with my car. And the person in there is like, doesn't even know what he's selling, doesn't know anything about cars, doesn't know how to help you to find the right part for your car that you're needing. And they just completely screw everything up. They're incompetent, all those kind of things. Like, you'd be so frustrated, right? And you wouldn't want to buy anything through them. You'd want to go to the other salesperson who's working at the other counter that knows everything about your car, knows exactly what you need, and is able to like suggest everything for you. Okay, so think of it like that. Like, people want to, you want to know about your products. You want to show that you love your products and you're using them. And another thing is stories tell, results sell. So you can talk about a product, but not actually having any results and like backing it up with results or sharing others' results is another big thing too. So stories tell, like, telling about how you feel or what it does, how you use it, those things that like it tells, but you need to have results with it, because that's what actually draws them in and sells. So I love everything that you just said. Thank you for sharing that.
One more sec. Well, number one, you literally explained AutoZone. I'm a car person, and that's exactly how it is. Nobody knows anything there. Okay.
I'm not anyways, a car person.
Staying consistent, guys. I want you to know, I want to stress something that's really important. So when you're consistent, think about this. If you didn't show up that day, someone could have bought that product from somebody else, or someone could have signed up with somebody else. I actually have a DT who's on this training now, and she is killing it, and she just got started, guys. And you know what? This is the day she signed up. So I didn't want to post about my coffee because I was just like, oh my God, like I stayed up way too late. And I was like, not about it. But I was like, you know what? I love my coffee anyways. I'm going to share it with other people. And then I messaged her and I was talking to her about it. And she's like, yeah, you know, I've been following you for a long time. And I know that these products work. I've watched your weight loss. I've watched your journey. I know that this business works. And all because I posted about my coffee that day. And you know what? We connected because she's been following me and we've been talking. And that is the people that you want to sign with. You want to sign with people who you connect with, who've actually genuinely be following you and showing and seeing you for who you are, because you know that they're invested and you know that they're going to kill it now. And it's all from being consistent and showing up and showing people that this works. Because you know what? When you guys get those like, oh, well, people think they think it's a scam, or they think this doesn't work. And well, how often have you been posting about the damn business? Have you been showing that it works? Okay, well, if you didn't post about the business today, how the hell is anybody going to know it's not going to work? Okay, same with loyal customers. Have you posted about a product? When's the last time you talked about it? Did you talk about it on a host post? You got to hold yourself accountable too. That's the key word. Is always going to be consistency. The end. Sorry, my child's screaming in the
I
background.
love it. Thank you. Okay, awesome. All right, so next thing we're going to talk about, and if you guys have questions while we're going through this, make sure you're putting them in the chat. If you need like something elaborated on, or a question pops up that goes along with what we're speaking about at the moment, put it in the chat. But the next thing that I want to talk about is how to keep organized with your potential customers, your potential distributors, and kind of just like your whole business while working a 9-to-5 job or a full-time job. And I'm going to have Megan speak about that, because Megan joined at the end of December. She's a teacher, and she was working, you know, full-time before all the quarantine stuff happened, but she went Ruby in 1 month, and then she went Emerald. And Megan, I can't find you. Where are you at? Oh, there you are. And so she just kills it. So I kind of wanted her to give you guys some tips on like what she was doing while she was working, you know, before all the quarantine stuff happened, and how she kind of like kept up and kept organized with her stuff. Okay.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? We're good?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. So for me, I just tried to keep everything as simple as possible when I was working. So in the morning, I'd wake up, I'd at least hop on 1 power hour. If there wasn't a power hour that I could get on, or if I was up too early, I would just sit and work for an hour, because that was really my only alone time that I was guaranteed. So I would do that usually in the mornings. I was responding to posts or putting up my first post. And then I would go to work. And then when I went to work, I always brought 2 things, a folder and this notebook. And it was just the easiest way to stay organized. So like with this notebook, I put all of my basic prices in the front. So all of the top products that I use most of the time that I know I'm going to need to talk about, I put here, because I mean, like most people when they work, they can't have their phones out. But if I could, you know, respond to a message here and there, I didn't have to sit and research it on my phone for 10 minutes trying to figure out how much it would be before and after. I already had it. I also keep my host posts in here. So I would write down who host posted for me, everyone that commented on it. I would put a star if they said, yes, I'll host a post, and actually did it. And if they didn't, I left it blank. This was also before those sheets came out that Katie posted like last month. But everything I had, I kept in the notebook. That way, if I needed to whip it out real quick, I could. I also keep my volumes in here of all of my team. So that way, if I don't have my chart or I can't really add stuff up right now, I can just glance real quick and see where I'm at. But this was just what stayed with me. The other one, this has my potentials list and my steps to success, because I always just like to see where I'm at or where my team's at for that. But I kept my potentials list because it's hard to keep track of it on your phone. And I know I still am not completely up to date with everything, but at least I could just whip this out real quick and write on it. But in the morning, I would hop on the power hour, I'd work. And then during my lunches, if I had a break, if my kids were outside and I was inside, I would hop on my phone, respond to people whenever I could. And then at night was when I mean, I've been pushing for promotion since I started. So I kind of took over any spare time that I had. So I would wake up in the morning, go to work, come home, have dinner, hang out with my daughter, and then her and her mom would go to sleep, and then I would get back to work. So at night, I was planning my posts for the next day. I was asking people to host a post for me so that when I woke up, I'd have those messages ready for me to work. So I'd have something for sure to do in the mornings. But really planning ahead, taking advantage of those little times here and there, because I know not everyone can have their phones at work, and I was lucky that every once in a while I could, but I was still able to plan ahead or on my lunch. Not everyone wants to work on their lunch, but it didn't really feel like working because I was helping people out, talking to people, making friends. But I mean, like I said, I was pushing for promotions the whole time. So, I mean, I had a will and I was going to find a way. I could have had the excuse of I work full time, I don't have time to do this. But instead, I just used it as, no, I'm going to be that person who is making this work while they're working full time. And I can show other people that they can do the same. Like, you don't have to be a stay-at-home mom. You don't have to have all the time in your day, because honestly right now, I was just telling Ashley this, I feel more disorganized now that I'm not working than when I was working, because I had a plan when I was working. I had time slots where I knew that I needed to get my work done, and now I'll sleep in too late, and then it's like, okay, well, there went my whole morning work hour. But yeah, it's just planning those times, looking at your schedule for the day, and planning ahead.
Yes, I love it. And I feel like that's exactly what I did. So she's really intentional with her time, okay? And if you're newer and like you don't know so much, I joined 3 years ago. And when I joined, so I'm a single mom. I was going to college more than full time, and then I was working like everything in between there. My girls had their own activities like baking lessons and all other sorts of things. Literally, our one day of no school and no work and like nothing scheduled for the day was every other Saturday because or every other Sunday because my girls would go to their dad's house every other weekend. And so life was really, really crazy. And that was one thing that stopped me from joining this for 6 months. I talked to Katie for 6 months about this. Like that held me back because I thought I was too busy. And then I jumped in and realized that if I'm intentional with my time, I can make this work for me. And if you're so connected to your why and like what you're working for, then you will literally naturally like find the time. Like it's funny how it becomes a priority. Like what's important to you becomes a priority. So I also did the same thing. Like I don't know why I still have this. I've literally been working home for almost 3 years now and I still have this, but this ugly binder is what I used to carry around when I'd go to school, when I'd go to work at my coffee stand. And it's basically the same thing that Megan has. I would put in, maybe if I was listening to like a training while I'm working at the coffee stand, if it was ever slow, I might just like write down notes. I put like new distributor outlines, so notes for me. I had my charts, step to success. I had my goals in there. I had my hundreds list. I had people who did a host post for me. I had my potential customers and distributors. So it's like right there. So like in between, a class at school, I was able to write down what I had, or like, a break or a lunch or something, I was able to like work for a second. And I was also intentional with my time. And I knew that if I woke up earlier and gave myself some more time to work, and then, stayed up at night, even when I'm tired, and give myself that extra time to work, it pays off. Because when you start to reach that income that you're like, your goal income, or, you start to take down those hours at work, or you start to be able to quit your job and work from home, all of that extra time of like planning and putting intentional hours in, and, staying up a little bit later than you want to, or waking up a little bit earlier, it's so worth it. Like I would do it all over again. It was hard work for those 3 months, but 3 months of hard work and then being able to be a stay-at-home mom and have literally the best income I've had than anywhere else, I would do it all over again. And another thing for staying organized, so, if you want to get something like what Megan's got going on, I highly suggest doing that. And then another thing we have, where did I put it? Okay, so in our Dreamcatchers page on the Files tab, you can scroll down and I have potential customer spreadsheet and potential distributor spreadsheet. Now now that I'm home, I have like an office space and I just have clipboards that I have like up on the wall for my potential distributors and customers. But before this, I just had them in my binder. So you can view the file, you can print it, and then it's literally just already pre-made for you. Like put their name in when you talk to them. Maybe you already know their why or their reason for like why they want to do this, or what what kind of income they need. Are they a mom, a college student, what they are? And then same thing for potential customers, like what platform I got them on, things like that. another good way to keep track, because you know what I used to think before I ever went like diamond, triple, double, like any of those things, I always used to think that leaders had everything perfectly organized and planned out. And then I realized we don't. Like, it does not happen. There's no such thing as like perfect organization. People are going to slip through the cracks. You're going to forget to write down a customer. You're going to forget to write down a distributor. But another way that I like to keep track of people is on your Instagram. Say that you're talking to somebody on your Instagram. Say that they saw your story, they voted on a poll or something, and you're talking to them and you don't want to lose track of them. What you can do is you can literally, I'm going to go to Haley's page. So you can go on, say, this is Haley's page, say that she's a potential, okay? I can say that today I talked to her about the business, but I didn't have my binder on me or I didn't have time to write her down. I can go to one of her pictures that I really like, and then I can click this flag right here, and then I can save it to a collection. I have a PDT collection where I put all my potential distributors for people that I've talked to even about the business just once in there. I have a hundreds list. So if I'm scrolling and I like somebody's profile on their Instagram and I want to kind of start, talking to them a little bit, like planting those seeds and getting to know them. It's like somebody that I could see killing it at the business. I have people that I would love on my team basically goes in there. And then I also have potential customer. And that just helps me to not lose track of people, because you start to talk to so many different people. And then another way, if you're feeling like you've lost some of the people that you've talked to, so when I'm talking to somebody about the business, I say, what do I say? What's a word? Commissions. I say commissions maybe. Okay. So commissions. What you can do on your Messenger app is you can go up to the search tab up there, and I typed in commissions. You click the see more option, and then anytime that you've ever said the word commissions, or maybe you say I'm a business owner with It Works, or anything else that you typically say when you're talking to a potential distributor, you can type that in there. And then all these people are people that you've talked to about the business. So this is another way to find your potentials. You could do this for customers as well. You can type in skinny brew, coffee, fat burners, thermal FedEx, all those words that you've used while you're talking to these people, and you'll be able to find them. So when I'm doing follow-ups, sometimes I don't always go off of my list. Say that we are doing a BOGO for skinny brew, then I'm just going to go in and type in skinny brew up there, and I'm going to follow up for the BOGO for all my skinny brew potential customers that I've talked to about the coffee. So that's another way to be able to keep track of everybody. Okay, thank you, Megan. I loved it. Okay, so next I'm gonna have Haley speak. She's gonna talk about how to message random people when you first start adding people, and kind of building relationships. I think, are you unmuted? No. Can you unmute yourself? Cool.
Well, it said unmute, but anyways, okay, so I don't have notes either, so whatever comes to mind. Okay, so when you are adding people, you don't want to be the person that adds somebody and then immediately messages them and says, hey, nice to meet you, I'm an It Works rep, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to say stuff like that. Honestly, I don't immediately message people when I add them or when they add me. I think that's super spammy, and I think that's a turnoff. One thing that I do that I try to do every single day consistently is I will message people and tell them happy birthday, because Facebook tells you birthdays, they'll send you a notification saying such and such has birthdays today. So in my word board, I have a message that says, it just says, happy birthday, beautiful, I hope you have the best day ever. And so you're getting in their inbox. Once you get into their inbox, that helps your algorithm, so they'll start seeing your post more and you'll start seeing their post more, especially if they respond, and most of the time they're going to respond and say thank you. And if you've never talked to them before, that's a good way to get into their inbox, and now they're going to come to your page and see who the heck you are and what you do, and they're probably going to stalk you. And then aside from that, that's something I try to do every day, because we have so many friends on Facebook. Sorry, I just got a text. We have so many people on Facebook that normally I have 10 birthdays a day. So that's a really easy way to get into people's inboxes easily and quickly. But other than that, I do the biggest thing now is responding to stories. That's a really easy way to get into their inbox. And so you just scroll through their on Facebook and Instagram. I've been responding to stories on Facebook too. And when I do that, that goes straight to their inbox. So same thing with the algorithm, you'll get on their page more. But you can literally just respond to anything. Like, I mean, if they cook something and it looks really good, you can respond and say, oh my gosh, that looks so good. What's the recipe? You know, if they just take a selfie and they have lipstick on, you can say, oh my gosh, I love that lipstick. What kind is it, or what color is it? If they posted picture wearing a dress, oh my gosh, I love your dress. Where did you get it? Same thing with kids' clothes. Like literally anything that you can say about something, as long as it's still genuine, anything that you can say it, and try to ask a question so that they're more likely to respond. Before we had stories, I still do this, but before we had stories, I did this a lot more, and I would go to my recent friends, not after, like right after they added me, but like maybe a week or so later, I'd go to my recent friends and I'd go look at their page, more so on Facebook than Instagram, but I'll go look at their page and I'll scroll down like not too far so I don't look like a creep, but like, you know, within the last 5 posts, if they posted a picture or a status, you can message them, like say they posted a picture and a cute outfit. That's normally what I'm responding to people about. I will message them instead of commenting on the picture. I'll message them and I will say, oh my gosh, I love that outfit that you were wearing in that last picture. Where did you get that? Where did you get your dress, or where did you get your shoes? And normally they respond. And I've noticed that most of the time when I'm mass enrolling, especially on Facebook, if I'm mass enrolling and I go scroll up through my messages to see like kind of where they came from, or like how they came to be a potential distributor, like nine times out of 10, it's because I messaged them about something so random, like what color lipstick they were wearing or something. Like literally that's where our conversation started, and then you know that they're watching you from there on out. So it's a super easy way to get into people's inboxes without them thinking that you're trying to sell them something immediately, or you're trying to get them to join your team, but still building that relationship so that their eyes are on you.
Yes, exactly. I've never actually been one to message for products or the business like that out of nowhere. Like I mean, like I offer people who watch my stories, you know, I do offer the business, but I've never been one to like message to find product testers. It's just naturally came from either host to post or just from my posting naturally and people coming to me, or me reaching out to people who have like shown interest on my post. So when we say like send, you know, on the checklist, when it's like send out, you know, 20 messages a day, 20 plus messages a day, or whatever it says, that doesn't mean you have to send out messages about the business. Like she said, like you could do birthday messaging is super easy. Replying to people's stories on Instagram or on Facebook stories is a really good way to just start a message. Or if you, like she said, you know, family vacations, kids' clothes, their outfits. Haley's really into fashion, so of course a lot of hers revolves around clothing naturally. But if it's something else that you're into, like Heidi, for example, is really into horses, that's something that she can naturally like go and start messaging somebody else that's really into horses about like, oh, what arena is this? Or, oh, you know, something about horses. I know nothing about horses. But that's an example. It doesn't have to just be about fashion. It doesn't have to be just be about clothes. It could be whatever you're connected with and things that you see your people posting about. And it doesn't mean that now you're starting 20 conversations and, oh my God, you started 20 yesterday, you started 20 today, and now you're like sitting there messaging 40 people all day long. It doesn't mean that. It just means like, you know, a quick conversation and you're done. It doesn't have to be dragged out forever. And it doesn't have to be like, okay, so I've been talking to this girl randomly for, you know, 2 days straight now, back and forth. Like, when do I offer the business? You don't have to offer her the business the first time that you talk to her either. But okay, so now we're going to move on. And somebody wanted us to go over WordBoard. It gives samples of what to put. If you have an iPhone and you don't have WordBoard, like go make sure that you download this app right now, because it's literally going to make your life so much easier. And if you don't have an iPhone, I'm sorry, it's not for you, but you guys do have SwiftKey, I think is what it's called. I always forget, but I think it's called SwiftKey. And if you don't have an iPhone and you're newer and you don't have SwiftKey, make sure you download that, because it's going to save yourself so much time in your business and your messaging and talking to people. But I am also going to let Haley take that one over as well. Can you unmute yourself, or you need me to? Okay, wait. Wait. Oh, shoot. Sorry. You're good.
Okay. I wanted to add that that's why it's extremely important when you're adding people. I don't always look at their profiles before I add them, but I do try to add people that look like they have something in common with me. So if they're wearing a cute outfit in their profile picture, I'm going to add them because I like how they dress, and then that's something I can connect with them about. So like that's definitely something to keep in mind when you're adding people, is people that you can relate to. Okay, anyways, so word board. If you have a piece of paper and a pen, I would write this down because I don't want to, I could talk about this for like an hour because I have so much stuff in my word board, but I'm just going to like tell you what folders I have and what I have in the folders. And I'm not going to give the scripts unless y'all want to ask for specific scripts, maybe if it's something that y'all haven't heard of or something before. So just write these things down so I'm not spending all night on them. Okay, so I have a host to post folder, and it has my initial, hey girl, I saw your comment on my giveaway post, this is how you enter, are you in? Here's the post, and then I have the post in there, and then I have a couple different posts for host to post. So I have like the tester host to post for Thermofed X, I have a coffee host to post, I have a PDT host to post in there, the cleanse host to post, and then the giveaway host to post. And then also in that, I don't know if everybody does this, but this has saved me so much time and frustration. I also have a message in there in that folder that says, thanks, you're entered. Just make sure you keep the post up until winner is announced for proof of entry, because I was finding a lot of people would, after I said they were entered, they would delete the post. So that kind of saves that. And it says winner will be announced on April 15th, which that was the last one, on my Facebook. Good luck. And I just change that every month. I have a folder for relationships. I don't have, the only message I have in there so far is a birthday message. So that's right there for me to just go through my list of birthdays for the day and send that. But I would also probably add in, like, there's relationship messages in the files and dream catchers that Brittany posted. So if you want to add those to that folder. And then I have my PLC combo, which is, that's another folder. I have basically my whole my whole conversation from host to post. So if they comment on a host post interested in Thermofed X, I have my whole conversation in there. So hey, I saw your comment on such and such post. You know, I have one for the 3 questions. I have a message in there. I find a lot of times that people don't drink enough water, so I have a message in there about upping water intake. Then I have my go-to message for triple thread in there. I have the pricing already written out in there. And then I have the cleanse upsell message in there. I have the cart walkthrough message in there when they're ready to order, like when I walk them through ordering, I have that in there. And then I also have a follow-up in there if they're in the middle of placing their order and then they don't get back to me because they forget to order or whatever, I have a follow-up message for that in there. The next folder I have is my PDT combo folder, and that is basically what, if y'all are in the I don't know if everybody's in it, the PDT chat.
I don't know if everybody's in that either.
If y'all are not in it, I guess just let us know and we can put these messages in the tribe chat.
Forward it over to our chat. Yeah, we'll just do that.
So I have a folder for that. So it's literally my entire messages to a PDT. So it starts with, hey, I'm so excited that you're interested in working with me. This is what I do. The money makeover link I have in there. And I ask them a question about themselves. And then I have the typical messages, like the base message for responding to moms, students, and red personalities. And then I personalize that for each person. And then I have my rights to sell $99 message. What I do want to say before I keep going, all of these messages are probably pretty similar to messages that y'all have, but even if I get a script from somebody else, I always make sure I literally go in and like, I kind of take the skeleton of the message and I make it my own. So like, I'll completely take out half of a sentence and like, that's not how I would say that. So I'm going to take that half of the sentence out and word it how I would word it. Or like, you know, some people say, hey girlfriend, I say, hey girl all the time. So my messages always start out, hey girl. I say y'all. A lot of people don't say y'all, so those are in my messages, stuff like that. So just make sure that every single message that you ever get, whether it's a script or, you know, from the Dreamcatchers page or something that Ashley tells you or whatever, just make sure you're personalizing all of your messages before you put them in WordBoard. I also have a folder for training new DTs, which has helped so much. I used to not have this folder. I just made this folder a couple weeks ago, and this has saved so much time. So I have a message typed up for adding them to the team page. I have a message typed up telling them I'm adding them to the chats. I have a message typed up explaining power hours and why it's important to get on them. I have a message about making sure they turn on notifications for the Dreamcatchers page, and then my message that gets them introduced to the units to go there and start their training. And then I have a message for them, like exactly word for word how to sign an LC. And then after they sign an LC, I have a message congratulating them and telling them to make their first post about it. I have a loyal customer care folder, and the first message is thanking them for their order and letting them know about perk points and the $50 back after 6 months, and that's it. And then I have a message that just says, hey girl, have you got your package yet? And then a message that asks them if they want to continue after their 3 months, to continue for 6 months for more rewards. And then I have a folder for DTs to pre-sell, go away, to pre-sell their samples to get started. PLC follow-ups, I have a folder for PLC follow-ups. I have a folder for selling Skinny Brew samples. PDT follow-ups, and I have a folder for rebuttals for PDTs. The rebuttals in there are if they have no friends or market, if they have no experience, if they have an unsupportive hubby, if they have no money, if they ask what if no one buys, if they say they have no time, if they're worried about being judged, and if they're worried about it being a pyramid scheme. And then I have a folder for product explanations. So I feel like I just talked a lot. I hope that helped.
Can you show them your folders and then kind of like open them up so they can see what you mean? Because I mean, if you don't have the folders yet, you're kind of like, what?
If you haven't used it.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go on to WordBoard, it looks like this. It's not gonna look like this right away because gosh, I don't know if y'all can see that. But these are all of my folders. And so I have like host to post folder, relationships folder, PLC folder, PDT folder. And then when you open it up, it goes to the individual. Can you see that at all?
It's super glary. Maybe turn up the brightness just a touch. There's a very fine line. Oh, can you just a little bit down?
I normally don't have this much of a struggle with this. You can see that better.
Kind of. Yeah. I
mean, you can see that. Okay.
Wait,
you can't see what it says, but basically when you open up the folder, these are all messages, and so then you click on it, and it has my message, and then it has the button name basically. So like this, when I do it normally, like my host to post messages, I'll like put 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just know that like this is the first message, this is the second message, blah, blah. But you can do it however you want. So like for the product folder, you could put like Thermify X and then have your message typed out. And so basically when you're using WordBoard, like if I'm going to text Ashley, literally you pull it up right here at the bottom. When you pull it up, it's just like when you go to use an emoji. You pull it up the same way as if you're going to use an emoji, and then it comes up with all these folders. You click on the folder you want, loyal customer care, and then it's the first message that I want to send them, and it types the whole thing out for me, and then I just press send. So I hope that helps.
Yes. Okay, bomb. Thank you. I'm just going to spin off a little bit of that. So the reason why this helps so much is because say that like for me, I am busy with my girls. Now we're doing schoolwork at home and I have a lot of freaking schoolwork. And say that like, you know, I'm talking to a loyal customer and it's off of my TFX host post. Okay. So when you're on the thing, like you see, I've got host to post giveaway. Oh, let's see, host to post, reach out. I've got TFX host to post. I've got coffee, hair, skin, nails, cleanse, checkout messages. So if I'm talking to someone, like say that somebody posted or commented on my TFX host post that Haley had posted for me, I've got my first message that I reach out to them and send. Boom, super easy. It's done. I can keep working with my girls. I might add in just an extra touch of like maybe something at the beginning. I don't know, but for that one, I typically keep it the same. Then say that they message me back, they give me an answer. Then I know that boom, I'm gonna send them the second message. Again, every once in a while you have to edit it just a little bit because not every conversation is perfectly cookie cutter. But then say that, you know, now I'm ready. They tell me some stuff, some info, and I'm either ready to give them the explanation for I think my face is cut off, sorry. An explanation for the Thermo FedEx, or maybe I'm gonna upsell with the pack. I've got my X pack in there. I've got triple threat in there. I've got our Target Trio, which is all the messages that we gave you guys in the tribe chat like a week ago when the leaders and I had come up with packs for you guys. That's the Target Trio. I have that saved in there where say I'm gonna be like, okay, they wanna lose 10 to 20 pounds. I'm gonna tell them about my Target Trio. So bam, there's my entire explanation for my Target Trio. Then they write me back. I'm still doing homework with my girls because I'm busy. And then boom, they're ready for the price. All I got to do is click the price. Okay. So I have my host to post in there. I've got now, you know, my reach out, my questions. And then I kind of decide from there if I want to stick with talking about TFX or if I want to upsell the X pack, triple threat, Target Trio, or the skinny pack. So I keep that all organized in there together. Megan, sorry, you're about to get all these. I'm trying to get these to go away. And then another example of what she was talking about, like with her, so I do that same for coffee for all my host posts. Like I've got the host post in there. I've got my reach out message. I've got my whole entire conversation in there. Another one is for newbies. So when I'm signing new distributors, I have a newbie folder and she just started doing this too. And it literally changes the game for when you're trying to, train your new distributors because you're going to realize that you say a lot of the same things. Okay, the way that you like to explain your coffee, you're going to end up saying that a million times to the same, like different people of the way that you like to say that. We say the pricing basically in the same way. The way that I train my newbies and like the messages I send to them is always the same thing. And before we started doing WordBoard or any of this, it's like I personally had gotten so tired of constantly like, oh, let me go copy a message over here and I'm going to go paste it over here. So if you're newer, are you going from one conversation copying and go to another and pasting? Are you guys doing that right now? Because that's so time consuming and so annoying. You're like, shoot, who was I just talking to about the cleanse? Or who did I just say this to? That's where you want to do this. And before we had this, we were using text replacement. And then sometimes you would accidentally say like the word clean. And then one time I accidentally sent my boyfriend the entire like cleanse. And that's when we first started talking and I accidentally sent his type of typing in clean. And we were first talking and in this cleanse explanation, I talk about how you have 16 pounds of toxic sludge. And I had sent it to him and I was like, dude, I did not mean to send that. It was so embarrassing. But so I took off all my text replacement at that time. And so it's like, instead of going and copy paste and like going everywhere trying to find where you've been saying these certain things to people, you've got it all right here. Yeah, I paid for WordBoard. When I paid for it, it was like a year ago. I think it was like $10 at that time. I want to say I've heard that it's like $20 now. Literally, I would pay the $20 for it because as a business, it makes my business so easy when I am, you know, grocery shopping or I'm doing stuff with my girls or, you know, I'm cleaning my home. I'm able to simply take 1 second to go reply to somebody, you know, a customer or maybe a potential distributor. Like I've got my new PDT convo in here where I've got, I'm an influencer, you know, like how I talk about the business and explain it. And then I've got my money makeover group message where my link, I don't have to go find the link every time. I've got the link and I tell them like, hey, I'm going to like add you to this group. And I've got the rest of my conversation. I've got, you know, how I explain the pricing to get started saved as a button. And a lot of these, like, I'm not going to give you all my scripts for everything in here because everything that I have in here is like very much how I speak and it's things that I've come up with. But into the chat, we will share two or three different Google documents for like potential distributor conversations that you guys can have. And then you guys can go save the buttons yourself. And I'll get to the questions in the chat in a moment. But then, so when my distributors sign up, when I'm walking a distributor through signing up, I've got my directions right there. So I don't have to explain every single time and like sit there and take 10 minutes to text out everything for how to explain how to go through the sign up process for a new distributor, or my checkout messages. So in my checkout messages, I have upsells, I have cleanse upsell, I have, sorry, I can't read backwards. I have my first message when I'm like, hey, dude, I'm so excited for you to get this, whatever it is. I'm getting your cart set up right now. Like I have that before I send the cart in there. I have a chocolate greens upsell, mocha dream upsell, TFX upsell, fat fighter upsell. So it makes my business so easy. So if you're not using any kind of system like this, it's something that you want. I'm not expecting you to, you know, if you're newer and you have nothing like this, I'm not expecting you to overnight just have it perfectly. It's going to take a little bit of time to build, maybe like a week or two. But you'll get it down. And when you do, it's amazing. Let me see. Okay, yeah, so it's $20. It's literally worth the $20. I would have paid $20 all over again if I had to. It takes a little bit of like time to like really get things down. Like even when I go back from the way that I explained things in the beginning of this to like now, it's so much different. But you guys have so much, we didn't share scripts and combos like we did now. Like you guys literally, the team page was not what it was now when we first joined. It's completely different. It was like we didn't do scripts, we didn't do like conversation examples, none of that. And it's kind of like you figured it out on your own. So take advantage of that stuff, but very much make it your own and make it sound like you, because nobody expects you to be a robot and a copy paste. Like we want you to be yourself, but we've got these outlines of conversations to help you get the flow down. Okay, how do you do the folders? Okay, so after this, I'm going to move on to another question for what we're talking about tonight. How do you do the folders? Where is my app? Okay, so in WordBoard, this is what Haley was showing you guys. Like she was showing you like in the actual app. To do a folder, you're going to click the plus button up at the top corner, and then you're going to click on making a folder. And then you can name the folder, like say I want to make it TFX HAP for host post. So I name the folder. If I want to give it a color, I can. And then I just simply go back to my keys. It's going to be down at the bottom. And then now I can start adding in buttons. Sorry. I can start adding in buttons. You click the plus sign again, you click custom button, and then you're going to put your label for what you want the label for the button to be. And then like the message will be in this part of it. So yeah. Okay, so moving on from that, if you have any other questions, put them in the chat, but I think that we answered all of them. Papa, yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so the next thing, somebody wanted to know how to mass enroll ASAP without host to post. And I just want to say that when I joined 3 years ago, I went diamond in 3 months, and host to post was not a thing back then. Like it was, nobody did it. Nobody talked about it. It was not even like an idea. Like nobody had anyone host a post for them. And so that wasn't a thing. And so I know that there's some people that think that the only way to promote or to go far in this is by host to post, but it's not, okay? I strictly off of product posting, lifestyle posting, talking about my goals. That's how I promoted without doing any host to post. Like you get, like Jamie said earlier, you do tend to get bigger orders when you are doing product posting, because you're typically posting about someone's results with a pack, or you're getting results with the pack. And by doing that, people are naturally going to come to you wanting these packs for what these people are getting results with. So let's talk about product posting, okay? With product posting, that could be you using the product, you being on your Instagram story or your Facebook story and kind of like showing how to make it, or maybe you're not even like showing how to make it. Maybe you're just kind of like, you know, you've got like your phone set up and it's on the little like hand, like no hand record option, and you're just kind of like talking to people on your story. And then while you're doing that, you're like, you've got a water bottle and you're like making your greens right then and there, but you're not even like mentioning the product. Or maybe you're making your skinny coffee and or your keto coffee and you're like using your mixer and you're kind of just like talking, or you know, you're playing some music. You're kind of just having fun with like making the product. Or maybe you are talking about the product, or maybe you are making those fun, cute like slides where it's showing the results and talking about how you're looking for product testers. It's kind of like a mix of all of those, but you really want to be showing results, okay? Like I said earlier, stories tell, results sell. Like you can talk about, oh, my keto coffee is so good, but that doesn't give anything to them, okay? People are emotional buyers. They have to be connected with you. If you're losing weight with the coffee, you want to talk about how good your coffee tastes. You want to talk about feeling confident because you're losing weight. You want to talk about what it's doing for you. Maybe you don't feel bloated. You want to talk about those things. Like, you're basically showing somebody how this coffee is a solution for them to lose weight, how this coffee is a solution for them to get energy, how it's a solution for them to not feel so bloated. Because I don't know if you're like me, when I go to a regular like coffee stand or at Starbucks or something and I get like a mocha, I feel so bloated after I drink those. When I drink our coffee, I drink it all day and never feel bloated. It's great. So you're kind of talking about those type of things where you're using like emotions, you're showing results, whether it's your results or somebody else's. I'm going to kind of go through my, I was going to screenshot these earlier. I'm going to go through my page real fast and show you some examples of how I share somebody else's results. So this one. So I don't blast like, these corporate approved photos. I don't put them all over my Facebook. I never put them on my Instagram ever. Don't do that. But I only rarely, like every once in a while, post these onto my Facebook. But when I post about them, like this one says, just another woman who's had their life changed by Skinny Coffee. And then I said, today I'm doing free shipping on my Skinny Coffee and Mocha Detox. And I'm gonna give you another Mocha Detox free because we had the BOGO for the chocolate greens last month. And so I'm showing somebody else's results, and I'm kind of like briefly talking about like how her life's being changed from the product. Another example is, and again, that's coffee with the greens. So that's a bigger pack. That's not just TFX. That's not just hair, skin, nails. It's not just one product. So that's already going to naturally be like a 90 volume order just from talking about that. If somebody's going to get the coffee and the greens without it being on sale or like, free shipping or anything, it would naturally be like a 90 volume order. So another one, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the photo, and this was corporate approved. I'll crop out the corporate approved part, and I'll just use, if I like the before and afters, I'll just use that. But then I make sure that in the first comment on it, then you've got the full corporate approved, because you want to be compliant and you want to be showing that it's corporate approved. So if I do crop that part, then I just make sure that I always put this right in the first comment. And what I said was another one with like, heart and like praise hands, basically. Say congrats to my girl Kayla, who was down 23 pounds in 4 months. She just sent me her results this morning. She didn't send me her results that day. I found her results, and I knew that. One thing, make sure you know their name and the correct weight. You don't want to be lying about the name and the weight, because say that I say her name's Kayla, but then like Haley and I have a mutual friend, and Haley said her name was like Taylor. People are going to be like, okay, who the hell is this girl? You say Taylor, you say Kayla. If I don't know the girl's name, I say my girl, okay? So I take her results and I kind of just pump them up, and I'm just like, dude, she looks amazing. Like, I am so excited for her. She has 2 names, duh. Yeah, it's her middle name. And then, another one where I didn't want to do the corporate approved part of it, so I cropped it, but then my first comment is corporate approved photo, so I'm staying in compliance. And it says, Jada's been using our triple X pack for 5 months, and wow, she's down 60 pounds. And then I've done, because I took this off of her post, sometimes I'll go to other distributors' postings, and I'll just like, if they share their results, I'll take their quotation of like what they said about it, doing it for them. And I'll take their photo, and then I'll just make it my own post. So I added, Jada's been using our triple X pack for 5 months, and wow, she's down 60 pounds. And on that post that I had taken this from, she said, trust me, as a busy mom of 3 that had terrible eating habits and 0 energy, I didn't know if I would be able to be where I wanted to be. But I stand here in front of you and tell you that I feel more confident now than I ever had in my entire life. Again, emotions, a story, stories tell, and they pull you in, but then the results sell. So, and I put it in little quotations showing that's like what she said. So, giving a quote from somebody else, sharing other people's results, pumping them up, and just talking about how good they feel. My girl just sent me her results. She looks amazing. Everyone, even though we're all in quarantine right now, like people are still getting ready for summertime. Like summer is still coming, okay? And I make sure that when I'm sharing results, I do packs, and I'll make sure that I keep finding similar like X packs, like coffee, TFX greens, coffee, TFX greens. I try to find those results from people. And then when I keep naturally like posting it, then people are gonna be like, dude, what are these people like losing weight with? Like, I'll get messages in my inbox all day long of like, what is that post that you just did about like this one especially? I had like 7 people message me in my inbox. I didn't even have to reach out to them. And all I said was, look at my girl. Again, I didn't know her name. Look at my girl and her boyfriend's results from my triple X pack. I'm mind blown. look at them. That's so amazing. Talk about relationship goals. Nothing sounds salesy, right? Like, I'm just being so excited for somebody else's weight loss results. I'm not being salesy. I'm not like, who wants my 40% discount? Message me today. Who wouldn't want to lose weight? Who wouldn't want these products? Like, I'm not being salesy. I'm just like, dude, that's exciting. They look freaking great as hell. And I'm just being very much myself too. But if you click them, it's a corporate approved photos. But because I did one over the other, you don't see that right in the post. So it doesn't look spammy. And as a product post, that got 50 likes on it. And I sold a couple packs off of it. Then I also, again, I show myself using the products. I have my own results. I have a lot of hair, skin, nail results. I have triple threat results. I'm going to be doing an X-Pack result now. I just got to get myself in the mood to start losing weight for summertime. Does that kind of help anyone who's kind of like, dude, I don't know how to do a product post. I don't know how to talk about the products. I don't know how to get a customer from product posting. It's not just about host to post. Host to post is amazing. It's a great tool. You can mass enroll so quickly with it, but you can also do the same off of product posting, sharing results, being excited, and being on your story, talking about them all the time, and just consistently, like Jamie said earlier, somebody has to see something about 17 times before they really, that's not for everybody. It's not like you're like, oh my God, so 17 days from now, I'm going to send my first customer. No, but some people naturally just have to see something over and over again. And the more consistent you are about maybe posting about drinking your coffee every morning and, sharing results or getting results with the coffee, the more people are going to start to be in your inbox and be like, hey, what is this coffee I always see you drinking? Or what is this coffee that I see you always posting people getting weight loss results from? So it's just consistency, very important. I think that was all I wanted to say for mass enrolling without host to post, but just know that you can promote, you can enroll, you can mass enroll without even doing a single host post, but I'm not saying don't do it, because it is a great tool and it will get you results really fast. Okay, so last thing that I want to cover, gonna kind of do this quickly. We might go like 5 minutes over. Sorry, I don't typically like to go over. The last thing was training distributors. And this is actually something that I run into a lot, where I feel like people don't quite know what they're doing when they're training distributors, but it becomes very easy. Okay, this is what I do when I train distributors. So we have our 10-day system in the units, right? Like, let that do a majority of the work for you. When I have a new distributor, I get them pumped up. I get them into the team page, and then I get them right away started on the units. They do 1 unit a day, but I don't get them started on the unit and then forget about them and never talk to them. I get them started on the unit, but then every day in the morning, I'm typically like the first one to message them, be like, hey girl, okay, let's do unit number 2. Let me know when you're ready, and we're going to get your post up for the day done. Because on the units, it has each day it has a different post that you're going to do. So I just kind of like to already reach out to them in the morning, just so they know that I'm there. Like, hey, how's it going? Let's start unit number 2 or start unit number 3. Let me know when you get your post up for the day, so I can give it love and pump it up for you. Things like that. Say that it's somebody that's like, maybe they got back to you on the first day and the second day, but now it's like day 3, 4, and 5, and you've reached out to them every single morning and they're not getting back to you. I stop reaching out to them, because you don't want to drag anybody. So if it happens to be somebody who starts maybe day 1 or 2, but you're on like day 3, 4, 5, 8, and they stop getting back to you, like, the ball is in their court. And if they're not going to throw it back to me, I'm not going to keep messaging them over and over and over again. So I'm basically getting back with people who are getting back with me every single day. First goal, and if you don't know their training units and you're like, well, I'm not very confident in training them on the training units because I don't really know what's in there, go familiarize yourself with the training units. And even if it's like, your next distributor that you sign, even if you're just making sure that you know what they're doing every single day for the unit, you're like, okay, so I'm going to go look at what they're doing for unit 1, because I want to be confident. I want to act like I know what they're learning. I want to know what they're learning for the day. You want to go familiarize yourself with that unit 1. And then when they're doing unit 2, go look at unit 2, and you better be knowing what they're learning for the day, so you don't make yourself look like an idiot when you're like, things are adding up with what you're talking to them about versus like what they're learning in the units, and you're not on the same page with them. So I talk to them daily, and after they get their first post up, so like I showed you guys in my what is this app called? WordBoard, in my newbie section. So when they get their first post up where they start talking about like, oh, I'm so excited, I just joined the business, then I help them with their conversation. Okay, because think of it like, when you're newer, you don't know anything about the products. You don't exactly understand how to explain the pricing. And so I very much walk my newbies through that part of it. We've got a new section in the beginning where it has them do host to post, and it's got the full conversation that they can go through, which is working amazing. It's helping people sign their customers very fast. But when they get their first post up about actually announcing what they're doing, then I'm like, okay, so I'm going to help you out with your messaging after this point. And I say, like, you know, it might seem silly that I'm like, hey, screenshot me everything that these people are telling you. But for one, it's very hands-on learning. For two, you're going to see how I talk to people about products, that I don't sound salesy, that I sound like I'm talking to my best friend. You're going to see how I explain our pricing and break it down. And then I say, you know, you're gonna get your customers faster. It's gonna get you your shopping spree faster. It's gonna get you this $50 bonus faster and your commissions faster. And you're gonna get confidence in knowing how to talk to people and how to flow through a conversation. Because when you're newer, it's so easy to like word vomit and kind of just be all over the place, and it's such a mess. But we've all been there. Like, I was such a mess in the beginning. So I very much like to help my newbies in that way. And I've got this so organized. So when I sign 3 or 4 distributors at a time, I'm not overwhelmed because I've got all my buttons ready for them. Okay. So they get their post up about just joining the business. And then I've got this message that's response to the first post. And it just explains to them like, okay, so here's how you're going to reach out to them. Then you're going to offer them, you know, the different options. And then when they give you an option, that's where you're going to screenshot it. And I'm going to start helping you with the entire conversation. And then when people are choosing options for them, I have option number 1, hair, skin, nails example or explanation. Then I've got my hair, skin, nails price. I've got option 2, cleanse explanation, the price. My option 3, wraps explanation, price. So I've got it literally their whole conversation that they'll be having with their customers laid out. So I don't have to keep typing it up or go find it anywhere. It's just right there. So that helps me to stay very organized with my new distributors. But okay, so outside of that, I keep it really simple. So with my new distributors, our first goal is them getting through their 10 days of units, so 10 days of training units. And then it's focused on getting their first 6 customers. That's all we're focused on. We're not focused on Ruby. We're not focused on the 500 Club yet. Like, we're not doing anything else. We're just like, okay, we're going to get through the units, and we're also going to get you your first 6 customers. And then once they get those customers, I explain to them, okay, you want to keep getting customers because now, yes, you've earned this, you know, $50 bonus and you've earned this $150 shopping spree, but the more customers you get and the more sales you get, you know, that's just going to help your commissions check to be higher and to have a good first commissions check. So after their first 6 customers, I start talking to them about volume. So whether, you know, maybe all 6 of their customers were 30 volume, just a TFX customer, let's say, and it's just 30 volume, they're at 180 volume right there. So I start explaining to them what volume is and how everything that we sell has, you know, that certain volume to it. And I think that the units kind of touch on that too. But then I start talking to them about the 500 Club, and I'm like, so now we're going to reach for the 500 Club. You're onto your like first promotion that we celebrate, and we're going to go for the 500 Club. So now they see that, you know, they have 180 right now, they need 500. So that means that they need 320 more volume. And it kind of like breaks it down. I'm like, look, you're not far, you're almost halfway there. Like, you're doing amazing. And so now they're focused on still enrolling and not just stopping at the 6. And then typically, if there's someone who's moving faster, or even when they typically kind of reach like 300 volume or so, then that's when I have them start looking. I have my Ruby video on the team page. If you guys don't know, you can just type in Ruby in the search bar on the Dreamcatchers page, and I have them watch my how to go Ruby in 30 days video, and it kind of breaks it. It just kind of like explains Ruby to them, but I don't have them start focusing on Ruby until, for one, if they're moving really fast, and I kind of just like bring it up because I'm like, okay, I want to keep feeding you like next step, next step, next step. Or, you know, once they hit about halfway point to the 500 Club, then I will, because I want them having this goal now, but I also want them to kind of like focus a little bit on what's to come next. Because if they don't know that they can, you know, start signing distributors and also start promoting, then they won't know to work towards that. So I love to feed them like their next thing. So like, you know, shopping spree, then 500 Club, then Ruby, and then promoting. And that just kind of keeps them moving. Like, you're constantly just like, you're guiding them to the next spot that they're supposed to, like their next goal, basically. But yeah, does that make sense to anybody? Should we focus on upselling when it's their first 6? You can. So it depends. So sometimes I'll have them do, like, say that they're about to sell the TFX to a customer. It kind of just, It really depends. Sometimes I really want them to get those quick wins so they get excited and they're just like, oh, hell yeah. Like maybe their first 2 customers, I won't even focus on upselling. So we just get them in and they're like, dude, okay, I got this. I know what I'm doing. Because I always tell my people, I'm like, dude, if you can sign 1 customer, you can literally sign 1 million. It's the same thing over and over again. And then maybe on like 3, 4, 5, or 6 for their LC number, like 3, 4, 5, 6, I might start doing upselling, whether, you know, they've got somebody who they're talking to about the thermo FedEx that wants to lose 100 pounds. Like, I'm not just going to be like, okay, yeah, let's sell them these fat burners that, you know, they need to have something else with it. So I will start getting into upselling or even upselling at checkout. But at first I kind of just keep it simple with like, hey, let's just focus on this. Unless one of their first customers is like wanting to lose a big amount of weight, then I'm going to like upsell with cleanse at checkout. It depends. First 6, that's packs. Yeah, that happens too. Sometimes people just come in and they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to sell everybody a pack. It's cool. So yeah, I think it kind of just like you play it that case by case. Some people are like ready to straight up start upselling, and some people you just want to get the quick wins in there for them. Narrow down what they want. Okay, cool. So that's basically how I train my DTs. Like 6 customers in shopping spree, 500 club, Ruby, just constantly leading them to the next goal. Okay, so we're gonna stop that there.